Hello and welcome back to Happiness by Habit. Today, I have the honor of speaking with someone whose story was a true testament to resilience, hope, and the power of personal growth. Sonja Zipser. She's a single mom of three, a personal development advocate, and a walking example of how we can rebuild our lives after a life-shattering moments. In 2017, she faced what many would consider an unimaginable storm, undergoing chemotherapy, losing her husband, and suddenly losing her mother, all within days of each other. But instead of letting her life break her, she found a way to heal, grow, and help others do the same. Today, we are diving into her journey, her habits for happiness, and her wisdom to finding light in the darkest times. Sonja, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Savannah, for having me.
Wonderful. And at the time of this recording, Sonia is in Germany and I am in Lima, Peru.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Sonia, your story is incredibly powerful. Can you take us back to 2017? What was that moment like and what kept you going through such an immense pain?
Yeah, actually, my journey started in 2015 when I had my first cancer diagnosis. I had breast cancer and I went through chemotherapy and everything. And I was sure that I finished that chapter in my life. But in January 2017, I was faced with a second diagnosis. They found metastasis in the liver and in my spine. So the same procedure started again, chemotherapy, going to hospital, and so on. And then I realized my husband had changed. And we didn't have a good relationship before, but yeah, he was strange. So I confronted him with that and he said, yeah, I have met someone else. And then I put the on his breast and said, okay, you have to make a decision. And it was quickly that he decided to leave. And he moved out on a Sunday. And as I already mentioned, yeah, my mom died unexpectedly the next morning.
My
So,
goodness, all together, that's horrible. Wow.
yeah,
So
and
you
then I,
lost your husband, not because he died, he left.
no, he's
Ay,
still
ay,
alive.
ay.
Yes, he's
Oh
still
my
alive.
goodness.
In the meantime, we are in a good friendship relationship again. But now it's nearly 8 years that we are separated, divorced, and we have the three kids together. So we are still good parents together. And but that was not from the beginning. I was felt very hurt. Of course, he left me in the middle of chemotherapy, and at that moment, I couldn't see that he made me a gift by leaving me.
That's that's a really important point. How did you realize it was a gift? What did that look like?
It was about 2 years later that I realized, okay, only because he left me, I started with all the personal development, looking into
Mm.
healing. I was already open for spirituality and everything, but when he moved out and my mom died, I was alone, so I had to ask for help. I got a woman here in my house who did the cleaning, cooking, the laundry, and everything. And she asked me, are you open for additional methods? And I said, yes, of course, because
Oh,
seemed that chemotherapy was not everything for me because it came back. So I thought, yeah, I will try really everything. And I have tried so many different things because I met so many different people in the last 8 years. And whenever they offered something to me or told me something about this or that, I said, yeah, I will try it. I want to see if it can help me. So yeah, that was the start of my healing journey. And I started learning how to give Reiki and all this energy work. And that's what I also apply on myself.
no,
And
I
I wouldn't
love
have
that
done
story.
this if he would. I don't know if I would have found to this way, but or to this possibility. We never know if we would have stayed in
Right.
that situation. But I don't believe it, that my life would have changed if he would have stayed with me, because we were already unhappy before 2015. Finally, I could see it was a gift that he left me.
Unbelievable, because bad things can happen to anybody, but it's what you do with those experiences that makes the difference. You decided to make something good out of that because
Yes.
you had so many things all together. You could have as well say, okay, well, I'm done. That's it. And stop fighting. But instead, you went for it and gave everything you had.
Yes.
And I think also everything happens for a reason. I mean, that lady who went to your house also was very key part of your new story, right?
Yes, absolutely. I always say, though, the angel came to me. Everything has a reason. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I really, when I speak to someone, I really listen properly and reflect, what did that person tell me? What are the keywords I can take for my life, for my transformation, for my healing journey now? Because we meet people big different reasons. And sometimes it's just for fun, of course, but that's what we are here for, to have fun.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
every person you meet makes a difference. It has a mission in your life. It's really interesting. So let's talk about the healing process and personal development that play a huge role in your journey, right? What were some of these first steps you took to start rebuilding your life?
I started buying different magazines where I read short interviews. I started what I'm doing when I read something. I have a notebook and I start writing sentences out of that. So I have like a
Huh?
little summary. So by repeating things we learn or hear or writing down, we already manifested in our life. At that time, I didn't know about this. It's only that I learned later about it, that by acting like that, we already manifested in our life. And for me, it's, yeah, I write a lot.
I
And
love it. Journaling is so therapeutic.
yeah,
Was there a specific turning point where you realized, I'm going to be okay, or I can be happy again?
it was already with my first diagnosis. My mom had breast cancer when I was 3 years old. She had different diagnosis and healing journey, but for me it was clear she survived it. I will survive it as well. So I never doubted that. But of course, when you get the diagnosis of metastasis, it's more like, okay, you're going to die, because at that point I only knew, okay, you're lost when you get that diagnosed. But on the other hand, I also understood, because the metastases in the liver and in the spine were found by chance. I had pain everywhere else, and the doctor sent me to a test, and there where I had the pain, there was nothing. But when I got the result, they said, there's nothing, but we found something else. So for me, it was clear, found it by chance. So the universe, God, or whatever you believe in, has something, wants me to live. Otherwise,
Absolutely. It's
yeah.
like being reborn pretty much because, as you say, metastasis is really a lot of times a point of no return, right?
Mhm.
What was the key of your recovery, Sonia? How did you make it happen? What was, because as you mentioned, the diagnosis was very critical. I mean, was metastasis is typically pretty bad and it's hard to recover from that. What do you think was the key to recover?
I never was the cancer. You know, a lot of people really dive into that energy field of cancer, or the illness they have, or the divorce. They really start living it, being it. And I never was the woman with cancer. When people saw me, I always looked good.
Oh,
I had no hair at some point, but from my appearance, people who hadn't seen me for a long time, they wouldn't have imagined or couldn't see that I was ill, because I never allowed myself to dive into that too much. I always, in 2015, between the chemotherapies, I always did something fun. We went out for a workshop how to apply makeup. I went for brunch or shopping or something else. I always did something nice with my best friends. So, and that's something very important, that we keep on living and not focusing on or preparing on dying. And a lot of people don't have the flame anymore in themselves.
Yeah, they
Don't
just some give up because it's very, yeah. Wow. I love
I've
that.
never
That's
been
beautiful,
that.
Sonia.
Yeah, I've never been
Yes.
like that. So I've always been like, okay, I will do everything that is needed. And that was for me. I couldn't tell you the name of the chemotherapy now or the name of the type of cancer I had because I didn't save that in my mind. Have no clue.
Wow, that's good. That's very strong because imagine the power of your mind and of your beliefs that reverse pretty much this cancer. That's really powerful. And what did that journey look like, Sonia? How long did it take for you to recover? And what are some of the things you did during that time?
I did a lot. I really, as I always said in the beginning, I tried everything. I started with really looking into the diet and avoiding sugar, for example. I did keto. I don't know if you know
Huh?
that.
Yeah, keto, yes.
Uh, Keto, but after a few months, I realized that leaving the sugar completely is not good for my body. So everybody has really to feel. I
Right.
started having cramps in my legs and I didn't know why. But then there was a weekend where we visited friends and I was not able to be very strict. And I was very, very strict in avoiding sugar. And this weekend, I was not able to do it, and I had no cramps in my legs anymore. And though I realized, okay, it's not good for me to avoid it completely. Everybody, whatever you hear, because there are so many theories and suggestions, listen to your body. Because you are the biggest, greatest healer in your world. Only you know your body. Everything else is a study. So one person had this experience, but you might experience something else. I never had to, after chemotherapy, I never felt bad. I always felt good. I never had to do you say throw out or give,
Yes.
throw. Yeah, I never had to because I always felt good. So, but there are so many others, but that doesn't have to mean that you have to experience that as well. And that you also have this side effects from a pill or something else. And yeah, so I did this, I did yoga affirmations and yeah, I went to different healing sessions and really that's what I've been doing the last 3 years, diving into my emotions.
That's very key because you know that there are very strong studies that show that most of the illnesses that we have are not are a result of emotions that are not treated correctly, perhaps. So very interesting. So you did feed your mind with really good good thoughts. You did journaling. You hang out with good friends. Your friends probably meant a lot into your journey, right? To have really good friends that definitely help.
Yeah.
And then you did yoga and listen to your body. And I think that's one of the most powerful statements that we need to pay attention to our own body because each body, each person is a whole different world, and something that might have worked for others not necessarily will work for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Let's talk about, the name of the podcast is Happiness by Habit. Let's talk about some happy habits you have implemented in your life, Sonia.
I started with affirmations on my journey. That was one of the first things. But then I remember one day when I started crying because I thought, okay, I found a new affirmation that I thought I had to apply. And I started crying because I was so overwhelmed and so stressed because I thought, okay, when should I say this affirmation? It was so crazy. And I thought, okay, if it was, I already had approximately 10 affirmations and I felt so under pressure and thought, okay, if I don't add this affirmation, I will die. It was really something that put me so much under pressure. And I think that's so important because everybody starts somehow with affirmations. That's something we learn. It's really about implementing it in your body, because you can say into your mirror, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. If you don't believe it and if you don't embody it, an affirmation is nothing. Yeah. And I didn't know that at that time. I tapped also and spoke these affirmations, but I thought I had to do more, but sometimes less is more than to do
Yeah.
too much. But what makes me happy is dancing. I take dance lessons and meditation, breath work. That's really something that empowers me and that really enlightens me. And speaking to healer friends and people who are on the same journey, that's something, speaking about our visions. And I really love to help other people. And that's something
beautiful. Let's talk about that, Sonja, because not only you overturned such a difficult, horrible time you experienced, but then you recover from that illness that was really bad. We're talking cancer and metastasis. So that is very a big deal that what you have gone through. But then also what you did with that is you're using your experience to help others heal, right? Let's talk about that. What are you doing and what this inspiration has been for you?
Yeah, I've been figuring out for the last 3 years why I am here. What purpose do I have? And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, finding our vision. That's been really the hardest thing, especially after the chemotherapy and being alone. I always said, of course, I want to live because of my kids. I want to see them growing up, having family themselves. As you already mentioned, I have 3 daughters. They are 15, 18, and 20. But at one point, I understood I should want to live for myself, and I didn't have a vision. And that's, I think, it's especially for women something. They lose themselves to the family, giving up their own dreams. Also men, of course. You have suddenly a family, 1, 2, 3, 4 kids, I don't know, and you're not able to do what you really love to do, and you forget what you love to do. And it took me a long time. I was in silent depressions, I would say at least 3 times, where I didn't know if I wanted to live. Yeah, it was very, really, should I stay or should I go? And I can imagine that a lot of people face these struggles. It's not only about being ill with a diagnosis like cancer or being a single mom. How many people go to work every morning feeling unhappy or staying in a relationship? So for me, it's so important that people have a vision again and really make a decision that they want a change in their life. Yeah, so I'm not here for women with cancer or only for women with single moms. I'm here to help people to find the way out, because how often do we ask ourselves, where do I find the exit? Where is the way out of this situation? I've tried so many things like chemotherapy, affirmations, yoga, and everything. I did so many things, and then I got this diagnosis again. Yeah, and it's so important that we keep on going. Of course, I cried a lot as well, and that's okay to be frustrated and be angry. But then it's so important to dive deep into why do I feel like that? Why do I feel so hopeless? And what else can I do? What is it that I haven't tried so far? And I was always busy doing things, and here an affirmation, a new affirmation, this. But it's all about going back to myself. What do I want? Going back into silence. And as soon as we start being more and more silent, we can hear, what does our body need? What is it that I want in life? What do I hate? What do I love? And it's in silence. And I always avoided the silence. I kept myself and the whole family busy, but I still had my husband. We always met on the weekend, friends. We were never alone. So I was very busy. I was loud, speaking loud, but my life was loud because we were always busy doing something.
And sometimes silence is good.
Yes, it's so important, but
Hmm.
it's uncomfortable to sit in silence and be silent and face our fears and what our thoughts and everything and be honest with ourselves. And that's what I started doing the last 2, 3 years, being honest with myself. Okay, I am jealous at the moment. Why am I jealous? Okay, I'm feeling frustrated. Why am I frustrated? Where is it coming from? And that's where I had people through the process making a decision to empower themselves, finding the X factor. What are when we go into silence? What are our strengths? What is it that I haven't seen so far? A new possibility. When you go run into a maze, you go into one path and you see, okay, it's not going anywhere, so I have to turn and try another angle. And that's the same in life. You try something, okay, it doesn't work out, so I try something else. And it's okay to cry in between, but then it's so important to stand up again. And that's what so many people said, okay, I tried it 3 times. I don't think that it's for me, that I can handle it, that I'm worth it. But yes, you are. And in the silence, you get inspiration. And then, of course, it's about transformation. It's about the doing, because only having the thought and the idea doesn't make it change. So it's about the trying, doing it, doing it, doing it.
Wow. Sonia, it's evident that your life has a big purpose. Otherwise, you wouldn't be still here today to talk about this. What was your why in the worst times, in the most difficult times that you described when you were diagnosed by a second time, when your husband left and your mom passed? What was your why in that second? And then what is your why now? Because I guess it's different.
Yes, at the beginning, of course, it were my kids, until I realized that it shouldn't only be for my kids, it should be for myself. And I wasn't able to find a why for a long time. And in this time, I was very frustrated, and I had these depressions where I really thought about leaving, quitting life.
But stop fighting anyway, because you were fighting all over the place to try all different things to.
Yeah, but one day I had when I asked myself, should I stay or should I go? I was more like going, quitting life, and then I turned and said, okay, then first I would have to clean up here, sort my papers.
That
No,
was your first thought. That's funny.
yeah, sometimes it has to be funny. So it was
Right.
yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, and it was hard for me to find a vision. And now it's really, I love to travel. Yeah, I want to see, before we started the recording, I told you, oh, wow, amazing, you're from Peru. And that's a sign, because every day when I sit here on my table, I see here the Machu
Machu
Picchu.
Picchu.
It's here for me for 15 years already. So it's on my bucket list. And yes, I still have a big travel bucket list I want to experience alone and together with my kids. My second daughter is leaving for Asia on Monday, so in a few days.
Wow.
And my oldest daughter did this last year. So we all love to travel. And that's something where I get goosebumps now. Yeah, because we can learn so much from different cultures. And I love to hike and all this. Yeah, and I wouldn't miss this. And spirituality is so much possible. I love to speak in different languages, and yeah, I just don't want to miss that. So
Oh
it's
my God. Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. And the time when you make it to Machu Picchu is going to be talk about the place with such a beautiful energy. You're going to feel amazing. I think it's definitely
yeah,
something you need to do. So let's talk about your kids, your daughters, 3 daughters. Let's talk about parenthood in general. And especially in those circumstances, that must have been really like very difficult to be a mother of 3. They were like what, preteens or teenagers at the time when at the hardest times. What did it look like? And how do you feel about motherhood today after experiencing that?
Must say I'm very, very proud of my kids because they not only lost their dad, but also their grandmom. My second daughter, she went a lot to her. She lived 5 houses next door to us, and she was there after school for lunch, for example. And it was hard for her. Of course, their dad was not gone, but he didn't live with us anymore. So it's also a losing.
Yes.
But I'm very proud they can do a lot here alone. They are very of course I had my struggles also feeling not worthy being a woman because my husband left me. Also I know it was the best for us. It's not a good feeling that someone you, especially when you at that time I didn't know anything about personal development. Today I would think differently about this, but at that time I didn't know anything about the energies about that and what it can mean for me. Yeah, and sometimes of course it's also hard to be a mom of three strong daughters. It's me being strong, they are strong, we have our own mind, and sometimes it can be very loud. Like it was 2 hours ago, I had to study with my daughter, with one of them, the other one wants something different, the other one came back from home, so it was, everybody was but and that's life, that's normal.
I guess that is a good problem to have three strong-willed daughters, and I'm sure they learn resilience from you. So they have a really beautiful role model to be proud of. That's very nice.
I think that's the only thing we can be, a role model in every time of our life. It's all about being a role model. You know, kids learn from us. If
Yes.
negative, the kids are probably also negative. And if I'm thinking the best, of course, my kids always say, oh, you're with your spiritual thing and blah, blah. But in a few years, when they are older and I'm still happy and living the best life of my life, the best time of my life, they will probably see that it's a good way, a good path. So I can only show, I can't convince them to change themselves. And also they need to make their own experiences.
Mhm.
We always, the mom especially, want to save our kids. We don't want to experience them something bad, but sometimes they need to grow. Also, it hurts our mother heart. It's also important to go through this.
Absolutely. And that's the best way to show them, like through your what through what you do, because kids or people in general don't learn from what we tell them to do, but from what we do and they see, right? By example. What advice would you give, Sonia, to a person that is going through some kind of loss?
That help because someone from the outside um, sees the things different in a different way. You are seeing it. I had always coaches on my side, a mentor whom I could call when I felt lost, when I had my depressions. I always had someone. One day I remember that my coach called me and I thought, how the heck did you know that I am feeling lost? And I cried 10 minutes on the telephone. And yeah, that was so good. And then we could figure out how I could move on. If you are feeling stuck or facing a terrible life situation, there is always a door, but maybe you can't see it because you are, how do you say, narrow-minded at that moment. And I'm working on myself now, not judging people because there is no judgment in life because no experience is bad or not. Of course, there are, how do I explain? It's people do things that are not nice, of course, but I try not to judge it, but to find a way out of it. And if it's okay that we are feeling jealous or that we are angry, furious, or something else, but if we just look on it in a neutral way, then we can find a way out of it. And being honest with ourselves.
Right. And it's okay to ask for help when you need it. A lot of people like especially women, we feel like superwoman. We don't need to ask for anything, but it's okay. And when somebody needs some help, it's okay to say no to some things that don't bring you joy, or that you perhaps are not in a condition to help to do. And it's okay to ask for help. A lot of times that's as simple as that, right? And to offer help. And like you had really beautiful friends, and that was key on your recovery, right?
Yeah.
So
So
we
in
can be a good friend too.
yeah, so in 2015, I didn't ask for help because I had my husband and my mom. Now that's also when my mom had to die, that this woman could come into my house, because only my husband leaving me, my mom would have helped me. I wouldn't have asked for help because we would manage it on our own.
Right.
Everything has a reason, yeah.
Absolutely. We often hear about toxic positivity, the pressure to be happy all the time. What's your perspective on allowing a space for pain while still choosing happiness?
Yeah, we think we all the time everything should be nice and happy, and we should be a good family. But yeah, as I said 2 hours ago, we had not a row here, but I should learn with my youngest daughter. The next daughter wanted something else. So I think living is not about having a perfect, happy life, and we are not always happy, and that's okay, because life is like that. And only when we are when we are in a down, we can see that there's something going on, and we can change something, and then we can have again. So it's okay. And what's the second part of your question? How I
Yes, and the second part was yeah, and how you can still choose happiness, even though you need to be true to yourself. And sometimes you're not happy all the time, obviously, and it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's our own duty to do something every day that makes us happy.
Yes, because when you like, for instance, a lot of times people say, "How are you doing?" And the default answer, "I'm good," and you. But sometimes you are not well. You need help, and I guess if we are true to ourselves and we really, it's not a matter of like saying the whole story uncalled for when somebody asks us, but if we can choose the right person to ask for help, I think that's very powerful, because most of us have people that will be willing to help, but they don't read minds. So we need to ask for help when needed. And if we get the help, sometimes it might be as small as just take care of the kids for a moment, or just need time to yourself for an hour, or need to relax, need to take a walk, whatever it is, just ask for help to the right person. And that will bring you true happiness, because once you take care of your needs, you can be better for the others as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I can recommend sit down, take a piece of paper and write down what are easy, small things that make you happy or made you happy before you felt stuck. So maybe go back to your childhood. What did you like as a child? If you liked to dance to loud music, okay, write it down. Because in the moment you are feeling stuck, lonely and unhappy, you don't have a clear mind. So you can take your book or your piece of paper, or you can write it in your phone, and you can read, okay, I like to dance, listen to loud music, go for a walk, read a book, cooking, baking, or something else. Okay, what can I do now? And then you pick something. But the moment you are feeling stuck, you don't have the mind to think about what would be a possibility to do now. So it's so important to have a list.
To have a plan.
A plan.
Absolutely. Yes. That's very therapeutic, doing the journaling and to create a plan, and that's really good. Let's talk about Sonia back in 2017. If you could go back in time and give a piece of advice to that Sonia in the middle of that storm, what would you say to her?
You are amazing. You are good. You are perfect. You are incredible. Yes. And get this. start being silent, listen to what you need. It took me now a long time through all that personal development and healing sessions and healing courses. It all starts within me. And if I would have known earlier doing meditations, and that's very important to me now. And I think that's one of the keys, that we be more silent and get inward. We're so focused on the external world. What do people think of us? And that's something I also, I did that as well. Oh, what are other people thinking of me? What can I do to please? I was also a people pleaser also, So, and that's not necessary. I did everything for my kids. I learned that from my mom. So here we are again. Our parents are the first role models in our life. So I saw from my mom that she did everything for my sister and me. So putting the focus back on myself, that was really the first thing, or the most important thing. And I once read a sentence that said, if you should write down everything you love, when would you mention yourself? I thought, okay, I guess I wouldn't have mentioned me at all, because you always think about material stuff, but I wouldn't have mentioned myself.
And you're the most important person.
Yes, and
we should be.
Yes.
So in order to be able to be in a position to love others, we need to love ourselves first, so we can give more. If someone listening right now is going through a really tough time, feeling stuck or hopeless, what is that one small action they can take today to start shifting their mindset?
Make a decision. Make a decision for do you want to stay stuck in that situation, or do you want a change?
That's so powerful, because everything starts with that. Until the moment you're not clear of what you're looking for, you cannot set the action plan in motion.
Absolutely. Coaching or something else, if you are not really clear that you really want the change, then you can book a coaching course, something else. You won't achieve anything because you didn't make that decision that is so important.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Sonja, this conversation has been so inspiring. Your resilience, wisdom, and heart shine through everything you have shared today with us. I really appreciate it. I know so many people listening will walk away feeling hopeful, and empowered. Where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about what you do?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I have a podcast also called Ambitious Single Moms. And everybody can get in touch with me via social media.
Very good. I will post your links here on the podcast. And thank you again for joining us. And to everyone listening, remember, happiness isn't just something that happens. It's something we create, one habit at a time. Until next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.